At welcome back po ulit sa ating mga kababayan, mga kamabat. Gaya po ng ating pinangako sa inyo. Ito na po yung kopya nating nakuha ukol po sa draft resolution ng impeachment complaint laban po sa mga Comelec commissioners, no, at director, no, mga chairman nito. Tungkol po ito sa nangyaring dayaan noong nagdaang halalan, mga kababayan. So ito na. Articles of Impeachment. Republic of the Philippines House of Representatives in the Congress House Resolution introduced. Ito, Resolution for the Impeachment of Chairman. Yan, may pangalan yan, blank. Of the Commission the Commission of Election for Betrayal of Public Trust. Resolved that Commission Chairman, Commissioner, blank, 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 o kung sino pong idadamay nila dyan, sino pong ikakasuhan nila dyan. Kasi may mga liability po ito, mga chairman na ito, at mga commissioners na ito, Commissioner are impeached for betrayal of public trust pursuant to Article 6, Section 2 of the Constitution. And that the following articles of impeachment be exhibited to the Senate of the Philippines by the House of Representatives in its own. Also, parang ipapile din yata ito sa Senate, no? And that of the Filipino people against blank, blank, blank in the maintenance and support against the above named commissioners, no? Ayan, no? Above named commissioners of the Commission on Election. Ito yung kasunod, violation of the constitutional mandate of Comelec to ensure clean, orderly, honest, peaceful, and credible election. The Commission on Election chaired with and as member commissioners reported that Comelec's transparency server came out with results in the 4-day counting period that are mathematically, statistically, and logically impossible. Imposible daw po na 4 na araw lang nabilang na lahat. Imposible. An incredible peak of 20,061,691 votes counted at present level and transmitted to the transparency server of Comelec in only 1 hour after voting closed at 7 p.m. on November 9, 2022. Ayan, ito mo, imposible po na 20 million, mathematically, statistically, and logically, imposible po yan. So, yun po yung magiging ebidensya natin dito, laban po, no? Para po ma-impeach itong mga taga-Comelec na ito, yung mga commissioner and chairman nila, Ito. So, going back at 7 p.m. on November 9, 2022 or from 7:02 p.m. to 8:02 p.m. In that first hour, Comelec's general instructions require that 9 major tasks. Sabi mismo ng Comelec, meron kayong gagawin pagkatapos ng butuan, siyam ang inyong gagawin. Ang pinakamahaba daw po sa task ngayon, sabi dito sa complaint, ay yung pagpiprint po ng 8 kopya ng election result. So, ipiprint po nila dun sa, 600 ang estimated na voters sa isang BCM. Ipiprint mo po yun 8 copies. Oo. Yung result nun, kung sino nanalo dun sa isang BCM, sa isang makina, sino nanalo dun sa 600 voters na yon, magpiprint po sila ng resibo, 8 kopya. Nagtitake po yun ng minuto o segundo, mga kaibigan Diba? Ito sabi. Election results, ER, must be completed before vote counting machines BCM could transmit. Kailangan mag-print ka ng 8 kopya bago ka mag-transmit, bago mo ipadala sa TV, mga kaibigan. Kasi yung transparency server, yun po yung nakakonect sa television natin na nakikita natin yung butuhan, which could take at least 30 minutes to be completed. Kita mo, yung 8 kopya pa lang, 30 minuto na. Before, yung sabihin na pagpalagay na lang natin yung 9 major tasks na yun, 30 minutes yun bago mo makompleto. Before vote counting machine could transmit. Ayan strangely, at the second hour, when the 9 tasks should have been completed, the vote counted dropped to just 13,970,000. Transmission starts. The votes counted unexpectedly dropped to 13,248,630. Dapat kasi, mga kaibigan, syempre sa simula, mabagal muna. Ito kasi yung logic, mga kaibigan, ng reklamo. Ang sinasabi po dito na nagko-complain, kung nagbilang po yung makina, Siyempre, dapat sa simula, dahil magpiprint ka pa lang, dapat konti muna sa simula hanggang doon sa bandang huli, sa second hour, doon mas lalong dadami bilangan. Dito po baliktad mga kababayan. Unang bugso, pagpasok, pagpatay ng pag-start ng bilangan, pasok agad yung 20 million na hindi pa nga po natatapos yung pagpiprint ng mga election yung resibo. Oo, yung kopya ng election na results. Kasi sabi nga po dito, para makumpleto mo yung 9 tasks na Comelec mismo nag-utos doon sa mga local precinct, magte-take po ng 30 minutes. Lalo na po yung pinakamatagal, yung pagpiprint nga po. Nakakapagtaka na itong Comelec nakapag-transmit ka agad. 7:02 pa lang ng gabi. An analysis of the votes created to the 6 presidential candidates from start to finish of hourly counting showed statistically highly incredible consistent vote ratios. Ayan, 60% if Marcos, for Marcos, 28% for Robredo. Consistent mga kaibigan, 6% for Pacquiao, 4% for Moreno, and 2% for Lacson. Statisticians would find this very strange indeed. On October 18, 2022, in a public forum, the Comelec chairman showed a graph for accumulated VCM transmission which clearly showed that VCM transmissions peaked at million votes at the second hour of the transmission. Sa pangalawang, ang sabi po dito, siya mismo, yung Comelec chairman, nagpakita siya ng graph na yung mismong vote counting machine po, lumakas lang, dumami lang yung vote no second hour na. In contrast to the transparency server peak of voting in the first hour, yan na nga po. Yung transparency server kasi, yun yung nakakabit sa TV, sa mga media, sa PPCRB. Yun yung nakikita agad ng tao, pero yung makina mismo mga kaibigan, bitin po yung kanyang ipinakita, hindi niya pinakita yung 20 million na yon. This comparison shows a difference of 8 million votes between the first hour. 8 million. Peak of 20 million votes in the transparency server count and the peak of 12 million votes in the graph showed by the chairman in the public forum. It is reasonable to ask if the 8 million votes were fabricated. It is reasonable. Kailangan tatanungin namin yan. Ginawa nyo lang ba yung 8 milyon na yon to establish the trend as to who was to win at the end of counting and influence voters into accepting what the end result would be. Whoever manipulated the transparency server results already knew official result will be even before the beginning. Ibig sabihin, kung sino man yan, yung nagmanipula, alam niya na kung anong magiging resulta. Malupit, di ba? Syempre, dayaan nga. May dayaan bang hindi mo alam? Oo. Ito yung kasunod, mga kababayan, mga kamaba. News reporting had it that the official poll watchdog NAMPREL replaced by PPCRB for the last election uncovered software flaws in the 2022 automated election and that Comelec ignored its warnings of potential cheating in the coming election. Comelec ignored NAMPREL's official communications to Comelec on the software flaws and on its warning of possible cheating. Binaliwala ng Comelec yung babala nung NAMPREL. Actually, pinalayas nga po nila NAMPREL, di ba? Violation, ito Article 2. Violation of the Constitution mandate on citizens' right to access of information of public concern. Ito yung pangalawang niyan, ha? On July 23, 2022, retired General Eliseo Reyes, Mr. Agustin Lagman, and Mr. Franklin Isaac, organizer of the Truth Warriors Movement, now the TN3U Movement, with advocacy for finding the truth about the questionable 20 million votes, jointly wrote Comelec for proof of transmission of those 20 million voters from BCMs at present level to the transparency server of Comelec, and an explanation of how 20 million votes could have been counted and transmitted to Comelec's transparency server in only 1 hour. Yun nga po, in response to that letter, Comelec Commissioner Marlon Cascuelo, as chairperson of the steering committee, directed the trio to the Comelec Advisory Council and Joint Congressional Oversight Committee on Automated Election System o JCOC AS. O, bahala na kayo dyan. As the proper bodies to possess those documents. The CAC and the JCOC AS later denied receiving such referral from Comelec. Oo, nagsinungaling na kaagad sila doon pa lang ha. After 4 months of waiting for an official reply from Comelec and aware of the provision of the law which allows the telecommunication companies telcos to dispose of transmission logs and other cyber data after 6 months from election day, the trio on November 3, 2022, 3 days before the 6 months period would expire, petitioned to the Supreme Court for a writ of mandamus to compel telcos and Comelec to preserve the election-related documents for future audit and investigation. The Supreme Court, 5 months after the mandamus petition was filed, finally acted with resolution merely require Comelec and the concerned. Teka lang ha. And the concern, sandali lang ha. Ito. Babasahin natin. And nasa na tayo? Mandamus, future audit, and nasa na tayo? Nawala tayo ha. And investigation, the Supreme Court 5 months after the mandamus petition was filed, finally acted with a resolution merely to require Comelec and the concerned telcos to submit within 10 days their comments on the trio's November 3, 2003 ito. Mandamus petition. The Comelec and the telcos have not replied to date. Already past the 10-day deadline set by the Supreme Court must hold Comelec in contempt for disregarding its command for the poll body to comment on the trio's November 3 mandamus petition. The complainant, Colonel Leonardo Odoño, retired, non-optimistic that the Supreme Court would resolve the mandamus petition anytime soon, decided he could and should try to take over the unfinished job of the trio with respect to the request of the trio for proof of transmission of the questionable 20 million votes. On November 28, 2022, complainant sent his own request to Comelec for the same information. Comelec earlier denied the trio. Ayan, hindi nga kasi nila binigay yung kopya eh. Complainant subsequently sent 3 follow-up emails for Comelec to respond no avail. Hindi nga daw binibigay talaga. In his November 6 letter, November 6, 2022 letter, the complainant asked the chairman to provide him a time and motion study that would show that 20 million votes counted and transmitted in 1 hour was possible in 1 hour, a claim he made aided by graphs in the October 8, 2022 public forum on election hosted by the Ateneo University. The chairman ignored the request. Complainant also sent a letter to the head of the Information Technology Division to explain why the IT Division undertook an audit of the 2022 election results, which is the IT Division's main responsibility in the organization and violation of the ISD's rule for accreditation of any entity. The IT Division had likewise ignored the request of the complainant. In his first November 26, 2022 letter to the Comelec, the complainant emphasized that he was asking for the proof of transmission of the 20 million votes in the exercise of constitutional right to access to freedom, information in the hands of the government agency with purview of the freedom of information regime in the country. He also informed the Comelec that the law gives the agency 15 days to respond, failing in which he was to resort to legal remedies to protect and enforce his constitutional right to information. The complainant waited beyond the 15-day compliance period. When Comelec remained silent, he wrote the Comelec chairman on March 10 that he was going to Comelec another 7 days to respond that he was giving. Comelec another 7 days to respond to my request. The additional 7-day compliance period has lapsed. Comelec has not responded to him for the information he requested. Ayan, mahaba-haba ito mga kababayan ha. Yun po yung kwento. Hindi agad to sumasagot si Comelec. Nagde-delaying tactics ha. Delaying tactics. Comelec, sabi dito ha. Comelec attempts and masking the truth. Comelec through a letter of its Executive Director Attorney Teopisto E. Elmas Jr. dated December 2, 2022 but delivered to the address of the complainant more than 10 days later finally had a response to the complainant after the complainant's November 26, 2022 and 3 follow-up emails. Comelec denied the complainant's request for information with Executive Director explaining that Comelec cannot provide the information requested, invoking the provision of RA 9369 prohibiting disclosure of any data that can identify how voter voted. The complainant argued that the Executive Director position based on a wrong premise for denial. The cited RA 9369 provision prohibits disclosure of data that can identify how a voter voted. The information required, the complainant argued, was proof of the transmission of the supposed 20 million votes and that explanation of how 20 million votes could have received could have been counted and transmitted in only 1 hour. Syempre. Naduduling na ako dito mga kaibigan ha. Pagbabasa pa lang nitong complainant ng complaint pa lang ito ha. Comelec refusal to provide the information both the trio and the complainant requested from the Comelec. The refusal Comelec chairman to provide the time and motion study to show that 1 hour of counting and transmission of votes was feasible. The attempt of Comelec's executive director to twist the argument to avoid disclosing information to the 20 million votes and most importantly Comelec disregard of the Supreme Court Supreme Court order for Comelec to comment on the trios in this respect of the highest court of the land indicated failed attempts of the Comelec commissioner to mask the truth Yes, gusto nila pagtakpan to. There was no 20 million votes counted by BCM at the precinct level and transmitted to Comelec transparency server. That Comelec include non-existent votes in the final tally of votes in the 2022 election. The 20 million votes were a fraud that commission forced on the Filipino people. An individual and collective conduct of chairman, commissioner, make the 2 million votes fraud possible and hide the truth from the Filipino people in betrayal of public trust and culpable violation of the Constitution. Such conduct warrants the impeachment of the 5 named commissioners. Ayan. Ito na yun wala na pala. Sarado na. So, well, anyway, mga kaibigan, kasi draft pa lang yan, no? So, syempre, doon lahat pipirma yung mga mga complainant dyan, sa likod, atin naman dito, mga kaibigan, mga kamaba, syempre, normal na tao lang, hindi dahil sa, di ba, hindi dahil sa magkakalaban tayo sa politika, kundi dahil sa gusto natin malaman ang katotohanan. Ikaw ba, 32 million si Sara, 31 million si Bongbong? Kung talagang confident kayo na walang nangyaring dayaan, bakit hindi di ba, yung iba nagagalit? Whereas very professional ang pagdala ng issue na ito, at ito po ay para po sa kapakanan at kabutihan ng ating bansa, para po maituwid natin kung ano man ang pagkakamali na nagagawa po dito ng isang ahensya ng gobyerno. Specifically, voting system po ito. Lahat po ng gagawin yung pagboto, mga kaibigan, mawawalang saysay. Bakit kanyo, Siyempre, kahit anong sulat mo sa gusto mong kandidato, karapat-dapat, ang mananaig ay kung totoong nagkakabayaran dito sa loob ng Comelec, mananaig magiging bilyonaryo itong mga commissioner. 'Di ba? Kung magkataon. Oo. Oh, well, anyway, ako, ginugood luck natin yung mga yan. O good luck sa inyo ngayon At syempre pa, yung nakuha nating draft na yan, hindi ipafile yan ng kung sino-sino lang. Mga bigatin din ang magpa-file nito sa Kongreso, mga kaibigan, di ba? O kayo, ano pong masasabi nyo dito po sa ating paksang ito? Comment down below. Thank you for liking this video, mga kaibigan, At syempre, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel para makapanood ka pa ng mga ganitong klaseng talakayan hanggang sa susunod nating pagkikita-kita at pagsasama, mga kababayan, di ba? With that, maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat. Magkita-kits ulit tayo, mga kababayan, Hanggang sa muli, bye for now. Bye!